What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of AOS Trash Pandas, where we like to earn our nickname and moniker every time. Okay?
Every single time. It's actually contractually, we're obliged to do it.
It's true.
Yeah, we signed a piece of paper, just a random piece of paper, and then decided that that's what we had to do every time.
It's true. It's true. There weren't technical difficulties. Streamlabs sucks. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like I put it up there, and then we kind of realized that it puts it in alphabetical order. We have pictures to show. Spoiler alert. And so it just shows it in alphabetical order, which is not the order at all. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just show it in Facebook. What do you think of the rumor engine today, Carson?
This is probably the most generic rumor engine we've had in a while.
Yes.
I have
you
no
mean
idea.
The worst rumor engine we've had in a while.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Yes.
There's like nothing you could guess that it could be. It's just a piece of cloth.
It's
I guess
so
the fact
lame.
that it's not quite so tattered, you can kind of rule out certain things probably. But
I guess.
Ish.
I think this. They might as well just not do this. It's like it's probably a cape. Like, okay, like even like a generic like looking like butt of a pistol or something like that for 40K would be better, because it's like, my God, you know, like you just give us nothing to work with. There's no imagination get stirred up by it. It's just it's a piece of cloth. We know that for sure. But yeah.
Also, there's just one thing I want to say with no context whatsoever.
Yes, please.
Hello, Randy.
Oh.
And also, I do have one thing from the meat dimension, which you probably saw come into frame briefly, but we're going to pretend this bit is real anyway. But a nice Corona. A little celebratory Corona. Just
nice.
And it has nothing to do whatsoever with LVO as it's being called.
I didn't hear about that.
A couple of people getting a little bit sick, but
getting the Rona.
I'm fine, and yeah, a lot of other people are fine too. So
nice.
But if you aren't, this one's for you.
Yeah, if you're feeling like trash right now, this is me drinking a beer, making you jealous. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you can use the lime for vitamin C, right?
That's true. I don't have a lime.
Oh, but now you're a failure.
Yeah, I know.
Now you've just let us all down.
All right, see everybody.
That's bye. I wish I could do that joke, but this stupid program will literally make it won't let me turn my video camera back on.
I just did it in Google Meets. So
no, I know. If I do that, my camera will say your camera is busy doing something else.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've tried it with other programs too, before you ask.
All right.
Streamlabs. It's easy to use, but it just doesn't work sometimes. Moving right along.
Easy to use, but screw you.
Exactly. Because we can. So not a lot of news this week. The old world got the PDFs, what do they call them? The Renegade faction PDFs. I went through them. They're kind of what you would expect. A few like obviously there's no characters, and there's a few things that kind of got deleted that we didn't necessarily expect, like Skaven slaves and stuff like that. But overall, people seem pretty happy with them, and even though they've like repeatedly say on here like, you will never get anything more for these factions for the old world, everyone's just kind of like, well, but like they're some of the most popular factions, and if you want this game to succeed in the long run, and people keep asking for it, and we just keep playing with it regardless, like, yeah, it'll probably be like, well, we didn't bring it out for the old world, we brought it out for, you know, Warhammer, the world that was. Like, they'll just change the name in like 3 years or something like that, right? Which is what I hope they do, because like my actual favorite factions, two out of my 3 favorite factions are legacy or whatever you want to call it. But yeah,
a lot of these factions on screen right now are like ones that I know people got into the game for.
Literally, yeah. And some of literally the 2 most popular factions from Total War, which is what a lot of people use as a springboard to get into AOS and the old world, or Warhammer Fantasy Battles, are in here. So Yeah. Like the most popular faction from Total War 1 on here. The 2 most popular factions from Total War 2 on here. The most popular faction from Total War 3 also in here, by the way. And that's demons, Skaven, lizardmen, and vampire counts respectively. Yeah. Actually, nice. And I mean, I think ogres are quite popular as well. Like, it's basically everything that's popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I heard an interesting theory is that they're going to... The lizardmen kind of got screwed over because, like, they're in Lustria, so there's, like, a really good excuse to not use them, because it's like, we're right here right now. But Skaven are literally all over the world except under Athelloren. So I think... But what I heard for them is once they get new AOS models, then they're going to take the old models that are out of date and sell them to the old world people. And I was like, that makes way too much sense. Like, because, like, if you look at, like, what they're doing right now with the other factions, it's just like, yeah. But whatever. I don't know. That's that news, I guess. And then the Sunday preview was, like, all these really super old models that they found in a basement somewhere. Like, I'm not joking. Like, that's literally, like, part of what they said. They, like, were going through, like, some dusty old storage room and found a bunch of, like, master copies. Some of them look dope, though. Like, I don't know if this is a new model or not, but some of them look really cool. Like, that looks like that looks like it could be plastic, although I'm sure it's probably resin, right?
Which one is that? The stream's just a little behind.
Right. The Tomb King's guy with, like, the scimitar, and it's like
two. Oh yeah.
These are 2 totally separate models. Apparently, they're not like you can build it whichever way. It's
interesting.
But some of them look pretty cool. Some of them look dated as hell, like these ones here. But, you know, I mean, it's cool that they're just kind of continuing to support, I suppose. But yeah. But anyway, tonight we're here to talk about
LVO. Yay! Yeah, just like the entire trip, kind of do like a little recap of the entire event. This is going to be very AOS focused, obviously, because that's all I did, and that's all I play.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's all our entire club plays competitively. Like, goes to tournament for. Yeah, like we have a section for, like, even for, like, Marvel Crisis Protocol in our local group, but yeah. So, but it'll be fun. Yeah. Thanks to everyone for joining us, by the way. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We usually have technical problems, but we're not usually late. We usually start...
Well, that's not true.
Well, we usually start at like 7 or 7:01, but if you compared to other podcasts who shall remain nameless, we start pretty much on time. It's usually 7:01-ish, right? And that's usually because Carson can't be bothered to show up on time. No, that's not true. It's usually just because we're
very late this time. I was there at like 6:59, and I was like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah, and I'm just like, this, like, it's not showing up, and I'm super annoyed. But actually, there is, darn it, there is one cool thing. Okay, I'm going to you do the preamble, because there is one very important piece of news. And the other reason that we're late. You know what I'm talking about, I
Is it the one that we were talking about just before the stream started, before I joined the call?
Indeed,
okay, cool.
Exactly.
So we placed an order for something that we wanted to have ready for LVO, but Indeed. As it turns out, it was just arrived today, actually, so just after LVO. And we're excited to announce that...
It arrived, like, literally, like, what, 10 minutes before the podcast was supposed to start.
Oh, well. Yeah. So you snapped some quick pictures of it, which I think you're pulling up now.
I did. And I'm not going to try and do it the other way, even though it would work, because it just, yeah. Anyway, so, here, one second. Okay, big reveal.
Big reveal?
Did that work? Yay! It worked.
I'm having delayed reaction because I can't see it yet, but I'm assuming it worked. Yay! So we've got our... Meat King dice, which is the most, like, egotistical thing that I think I've ever done. But we made, I think it was Robin that had a great idea to make, like, more mustache dice that were, like, meat colored, and kind of release those for sale on the channel. And so we did. We placed a big order. We came up with this little, like, logo. And the dice
came up with the logo. I mean, I guess
It was a back and forth. It was
I
a back and
workshopped it. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And then yeah, we have these like they're like little meat cubes essentially that have like a little mustached crown guy for Meat King on there. And yeah, they'll be on the shop soon.
Yep. As soon as I can get them up, we'll just have to put a little thing up. If people want to order them like right away and they don't want any delay, you can actually just email the channel. Like that's the way I used to sell them. Yeah, and if you're a patron and you just order them directly through us, then they are $25 instead of
Patron or a YouTube member, right?
yes, YouTube members as well. Thank you. And if they also like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do a sale on the other dice too, because I love how these dice turned out, and I'm not gonna get like more meat. I'm not gonna get more meat dice, but I mean like the Kraken dice are like really nice in public, but they don't show up as well on our videos. Like when you see them in real life, they're beautiful, but I should have got white pips. So I might do a sale on them and the Skaven dice and get some new ones in that are that read better on camera. You know what I mean? But
Totally, yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So sagaofdice@gmail.com if you want to buy them directly. $30 for regular people, $25 for members, and the shipping cost is literally whatever it costs me. If you go through Etsy, the shipping tends to be like $3 or $4 cheaper, and I just eat that cost on Etsy because I don't want people knowing my address, so I ship it through my own account. But yeah, so yeah, it helps support the channel, and these dice are rad. Like they are absolutely beautiful. They look like fresh pork, I think. Like literally, like I was looking at them, I was like, this is creepy. Like it's like a big slab of pork cubes or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And they should show up really nicely whenever you roll them too. Like one thing that I like to stand by is any dice that I use, my opponent should be able to really easily read the results from like across the table.
Totally.
So just like bright white pips, there's a lot of contrast to these dice. And yeah.
Yeah, a lot of contrast. That was the thing we were a little worried about. It was like, because like the two colors, like if you take the very broad end of one of them versus the white, it was like, oh, maybe this won't read super well. But because of the way they mix and stuff, it came out perfect. I think they're super easy to read. And
Bahamut, it's $30 Canadian. Not
$30
USD.
Canadian for sure.
So
yeah,
35% cheaper than you thought it was.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you thought it was US.
literally, yeah. Like it's crazy. The dollar is wild right now. So, congratulations, everyone. Yeah,
We did it.
If you're paying in Japanese yen right now, it's not super good for once, but like that's an anomaly. Most countries in the world will. Yeah, it's much better. I always list stuff in Canadian because you know what I mean. That's easier for other people. So yeah.
Yep. It's also one last thing. It's worth mentioning that if you ever see me at an event, I will have these dice, and I will give you one if you ask for one.
Nice.
So tap me on the shoulder, and I'll hand you a little Meat King die. So happy to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. And I sent you some dice to take with you to LVO from the channel as well. So,
yeah, I was giving out dice.
So if you ever like encounter Cthulhu, and he's like, you got to roll a hot 7. Even if you don't, if you use the Kraken dice, he'd be like, oh, you're repping me. I'm sorry. You can go on. I will eat you later. So it's worth mentioning. I feel like. Oh, we forgot to swap dice apparently.
You're right. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
That's my bad. Yeah. I should have given you. I was giving people a mustache die, a warp dice die, and a Saga of Dice die.
Nice.
Yeah. And then if I ran into like a Zinch or Seraphon player, those are who the Slan dice went to.
Nice.
Or no, I think I gave one to Beefy Crunch. Maybe.
Oh,
I
hell
can't
yeah.
remember.
Awesome.
Speaking of which, Beefy Crunch is like a mountain man. He's like at least
told me.
half a head taller than me.
He literally
he's got like
told
a full
me.
beard and like luxurious long hair. And I was like, oh, I'm inferior. Hello.
Actually, and by the way, speaking of dice, and I know I'm getting better at this, guys. Oh, and thanks and hey to Darren, Bahamut, Matthew, Keith, Robin, Asri, and everyone else who's hanging out. I really appreciate you. I'm just going down the list of the last few people that, and I think I said Matthew already. Speaking of dice, thank you. I don't want to say his name, but someone just put up our first review for the Hypnosland dice on there, and I didn't even ask him to. He just gave a really nice review and said he was going to buy more anyway. So shout out to him. I don't know if he's watching, but yeah, thanks again. I really appreciate it. So
without further ado, we should probably get to what the show is called.
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
Probably a good idea. Yeah.
It's called Trash Panda, okay? It is a garbage truck on fire whose brakes have been cut, going down a hill out of control. Okay? That's the other image. The main one is the panda going through, or the raccoon going through your garbage. Moving right along, LVO.
LVO.
So I have the first picture up.
You have the first picture up. I'm just going to click through them at the same time with you because they're in the same order.
Very smart.
Oh, God. What did Facebook do? One sec. We're good. Okay. So we're on the one that is me, Henrik, and a friend that we brought along as well, right? In the airport?
Yep.
Okay, so it all starts off at YVR. This was the day that, like, snow decided to bless us with its presence. We got like a foot of snow, which is unheard of for Vancouver. So we ended up kind of getting stuck in the airport. Mm-hmm. I think we were at the airport for like 8 hours or something like that. And if you want to go to the next picture,
I will.
We got bored. So we decided to do tequila shots.
What the crap? Now it's on.
Oh, is it different?
Facebook.
Is it different?
It is. Okay, there we go. Wait, is this the right one?
I don't know. Is it just 3 shots of tequila?
No, it's...
No, that's not it.
Blame Facebook. Like, I'm literally just clicking right.
Click left. Try clicking left.
Okay. Wait, is Tommy Bahama not...
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, there we go. Clicking left works. Why?
Hey.
I don't know.
Go left. Don't go right.
Okay, apparently go left is the right hand.
So we got tequila shots because we were bored.
I don't know why I said we.
It was a good time. So continuing on, we get onto the plane. The next image, me and Kendrick.
It's you and Kendrick.
We were on the plane for like another hour or two or something like that on the tarmac. So we lost like almost a full day to just delays, which kind of sucked.
That is brutal.
Next image, you can see kind of like the snow all over the jet engine. And then the image after that is them kind of like icing us down. De-icing.
Icing you down, huh?
Yeah, they're giving us ice. Probably why it took so long.
Oh man.
And then finally,
wait, one second.
Yeah.
Ladivicus, you're not wrong. Thanks also for joining us, and you Beefy Crunch. But was I like? Is that a tech issue? Like, usually going right is the next thing. It is in virtually every other program. Okay, I mean. I know I don't stand up for myself because I shouldn't most of the time, but okay, I'm moving right along. After the de-icing, we have
We have arrived in Las Vegas. That's the next picture.
I believe it says Las Vegas.
Yes,
actually.
Yeah. We actually ended up flying to the wrong airport. We ended up in LS Vegas. It was kind of embarrassing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Someone else having tech issues. Yeah. How embarrassing! I wouldn't know what that's like.
Yep. Next image, got the lobby of our hotel. It was very fancy, very nice. Thank you to Kenrick for hooking us up with that spot. I really appreciate it. Super, super cool. We stayed at the Hilton Alara, but it was like right on the strip, so we were able to go out a lot, and yeah, it was great. Next picture after that, we had like the next couple pictures are basically just like views from the hotel room.
Nice.
So we saw the Vegas Sphere, which was really cool.
Pretty.
Yeah. We got in at like 1 or 2 a.m., I think. Or no. Yeah, I think it was that late. It was super late. A little jacuzzi after the Vegas Sphere, which was the source of a fun little party at the end of LVO. That was a good time. After that, I don't know if you've been to Las Vegas, but they have like literal skies in some of their malls as you're walking around.
I've seen it before.
It was super jarring, like coming in at like 2 a.m. and then just walking around and be like, oh, it's like daytime in here. Okay, sounds good.
That's
daytime
so
inside.
Weird, isn't it? It's like, I guess it like prevents seasonal, what's it called? Disorder?
seasonal effectiveness disorder. I
Yeah,
think it is
something like that. Yeah.
SAD is what it's. Yeah. Yeah. Next image. Our saving grace was a Taco Bell that was open 24 hours.
Nice.
I order my Taco Bell on like the little self-serve kiosk.
Yeah.
It's pretty familiar here in Canada. Like we've got it at McDonald's, we've got it at like a ton of fast food places. You can kind of like place your order and then like make customizations, that sort of stuff. After I was done, I see a little prompt that pops up and it says, "Would you like to add 3 shots of tequila to your Baja Blast slushy?" And I say, "No, just one, please." I spent like $30 US at a Taco Bell at like 2:30. I bought a ton of way too much stuff.
Wow.
So the next image is a nice little Dorito Gordita Crunch or whatever it's called. I think this is the first time I've had Taco Bell in the US. It was okay.
Do we have Taco Bell here?
We have had Taco Bell.
I've never seen a Taco Bell here. I've only seen Taco Time.
There's Taco Time for sure, yeah. But I know that KFC and Taco Bell were like they did that like dual restaurant thing for a while.
Oh, huh.
Yeah. There was one in Maple Ridge. It was kind of weird and not good.
Okay.
But it was there. Next picture is basically like everyone that was staying in our little hotel room. We just got all our armies out to just show off like all of the stuff that we were bringing to LVO the next day. So we had like an ogre army. Kenrick brought his Gits, and then he had his 2 friends that were playing in the 40K event as well.
Like looks like Space Wolves and Blood Angels.
One of them was Blood Angels, and one of them was Sisters of Battle.
Sisters, right?
Yeah.
What's the gray? Oh, is that trolls?
Those are trolls. Yeah, those are
okay. Cool.
Kenrick's trolls.
Like from this distance, it looks like they could be Space Marines, like, but yeah, I can't see.
Also, yeah, Matthew says Taco Bell and KFC are both owned by Pepsi. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that
sense.
Either. Now I know why you can only get Pepsi and KFC.
Ooh, that's good.
Damn.
Plot thickens.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Next up, we've got Eric.
Yeah.
Being an Adonis on Earth.
Right on.
And just showing us all up with his beautiful looks and amazing ability to pose like this.
I've always said that. He's posing. He's telling us where the beach is.
He's actually pointing directly at Ringo Starr, saying that he's the most inferior Beatle. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
I think that's what he's known for.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can see like a little bit of disgust on Eric's face. Just, ooh.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we've always said it.
Next up, we've got Matthias gazing at a chimera without its sorcerer lord on top.
He's contemplating.
He's contemplating it. Yeah. He said, "Where's that sorcerer lord? Where did it go?
That's true.
Where's the chaos lord? I don't understand."
Yeah. I don't know, Matthias. I don't know.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Eric buying a nice little shirt from Tommy Bahama, which he wore to the Tiki Bar and a bunch of other places. That was a good time.
Awesome.
After that, these are kind of some of the armies that got put on display for the showcase.
So I hit right, and I randomly get this picture, and I hit left, and I bet you, now it's just working.
Just don't press the right button.
Never push the right button in Facebook. Okay.
Yeah. The next bunch of pictures are basically just like armies that were fully on showcase. So I think there were like 10 or 20 armies that got picked for showcase on Saturday. And then after that, like a top 10 were announced. So this is one that a lot of people probably recognize. This is Ricky Fisher. Also, one thing that kind of I forgot to do and forgot was a thing. Apparently, if you got picked to be like part of the 20 showcase or whatever, you could go up there at lunch and Duncan Rhodes was there. And you could like shake his hand and get a picture with him. And I was like, like,
no.
I wasn't even doing anything cool. I was eating like a day-old Subway sandwich in Matthias's room.
Oh man, that's brutal.
I was just sitting there in his dark room, just like munching away on half a cent. I was like, "What? I could have met Duncan? What do you mean?"
You flash forward to like all these people, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I get to meet you!" And then it flashes to you, and you're like picking your nose. Flashes back to Duncan. Someone was like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing! What a thrill of a lifetime!" Back to Carson, like, "This bread tastes a little old." Back to Duncan, back to you. Oh man, dude, I'm sorry.
I distinctly remember too, because I guess Matthias's like mini fridge in his room was super cold. The front center of the sandwich was like frozen almost. so that was my experience instead of shaking hands with Duncan.
Oh, that's brutal.
Well worth it. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Leviticus says Matthias was pondering why all the competitive corn lists contain a wizard for a turn 1 tactic. Yeah. He would be, except he does that
except
too.
He does
so I don't think he's pondering
exactly.
it. Be'lakor is definitely in the Matthias gang. So
yeah, he's been doing it pretty much since the start, sadly.
Yeah. But yeah, this is Ricky's Dankel Nilbog. Ricky is like excellent painter from the Pacific Northwest. I think he's like like hobby goals for sure,
and a strong player as well.
Very strong player. Yeah, he beat me at Pacific Northwest Masters, so nice. He's a great player. Good. Next up is it's my army, yay! I also got to the painting table, which was pretty cool. I made the top 20. Next up after that, this is just a bunch of random images, and also credit to AOS Coach for taking these pictures. I kind of gathered these images last minute and realized that he did like a whole bunch of things for the painting table, so I just stole them from him. Yeah. Yes, we got a cool Zinch army here from Dan Sanchez.
Nice.
And then next up, this one I really, really liked. Cyber Trucks from Teresa Wagner.
Dope.
These look amazing, and it's just a super cool idea. Like, I really like this.
Yeah, as a former Necron player, this seems right up your alley.
Absolutely, but it's just like super like cyber punk aesthetic, like super.
Totally.
I don't know. I like the it's almost like a circuit board sort of look. It looks
totally
super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep, and then next up we've got no, it wasn't this one. Josh Wiltz, something like that. Super cool looking Nurgle, really awesome display board. After that, we've got another really awesome looking Seraphon with like the big pyramid in the middle.
Nice. I think that's from that what's it called, printable scenery or whatever. It looks kind of like it. That's dope though. I really wanted to do that for the channel, but did not.
And then you didn't.
And then I did.
Why is that, Rob? Yeah.
Painting FEC. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I had a great couple days. This is one pick from the end that was kind of like in progress, and then after all these, I'll like kind of go through the games that I had and stuff like that if anybody's interested. This was kind of like a highlight of the event though. So there was the regular tournament, which is like 5 games or 8 games if you get into the top 8, and then after that there's the 1-day doubles, which is like on the Sunday, which just happens all the way up until the award ceremony. So Kenrick and I decided to do doubles together, and we did he had 15 Boingrot Bounders for his half of 1,000 points. I had 12 Gluttons and 4 Iron Guts. Basically, we're going for crazy amounts of impact mortal wounds. And then we go up against 2 players. This is our 3rd game, where one of them was playing Thunderbellies, and he had a Stonehorn and a bunch of Mornfang, and the other guy was Beasts of Chaos. We started off the board.
Okay.
So I think it was turn 2 where I realized I'm okay, they're gonna come at us real hard this turn. So Kenrick went to the bathroom. He's like, you can just move my models however you like. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And I made this thing that he called the Goblin Meat Castle, where it just lined us in a circle at the direct center of the board.
Nice. With
a whole bunch of Stabas and Noblars, which are awful to charge into, obviously. And then just ogres lining the outsides of it too. And then Scragrot, and then the Slaughtermaster, which had Blizzard in the direct center. So that was insane. That was a lot of fun. We ended up winning that game by 1 point because they ended up charging in, and then the counter punch was just way too much. It was super fun.
That's cool. It almost looked like a heart of meat.
Almost, yeah.
A meat heart.
Heart of meat, yeah. That's true. That is what hearts are made of. But yeah, our first game was super fun too. We played against a 30 block of Fusiliers on ice fields, and we're we're gonna lose. 100% we're gonna lose. But we actually ended up really pulling through that game.
Nice. So are you gonna go through your team games at all?
The team games or the singles games?
Well, you were just this is from the team game, right?
Yep, this is, yeah.
Okay. So you was this the first game for the team?
This is the 3rd game.
The 3rd game.
This is just a highlight photo.
I see. Got it.
Yeah, I'm just doing a photo dump, and then we can talk about how the event went.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, super cool. Next pick is just the top 10. I ended up making the top 10, which is super cool. So they I think picked 20 top people or maybe it was just like you had to get a certain score to get on the judges' painting table, and then they pick a top 10 from that. And I was on there, Ricky was on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And did you actually, I guess we'll talk about it after. Never mind, sorry.
Sure, no worries. Next up, I got what I came for. It's me with my Ogre Maw Tribe's #1 ITC.
That's awesome.
This was super awesome to get. I went to this event in hopes of like coming home with this. I did, and then obviously much more. And the much more is, can you play the video next? Is that what's next?
I don't know. Yep.
Okay. Play it.
Why is it muted? Here, damn it. Okay. I forgot Facebook automatically mutes stuff. Wait, why is it going?
Oh, is this the right video?
It is. I think it's the only video.
Goes to Carson.
Yeah. But is the one that starts the sparkle party?
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna send you one second. I'm sending you a new video. That's not the right one.
Oh, that's not the right one?
Yeah,
not the meat one?
Here we go.
Okay.
This is why we're the trash pandas.
Yep. That's why it's plural.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uno momento.
So I shouldn't have played the meat video?
You can if you want to. That's fine.
Okay.
That was like it includes a little bit of the video that I intended to show. But
Oh, okay. Well, here, why don't I play it while people are kind
do
of
it. Oh yeah. Actually, as a preamble to that video, then, so at some tournaments, whenever I've been like on the podium or like, winning something of some kind, people have just been starting to chant like meat, 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 meat. So this is kind of like a progression of that. I think it was Dale that originally started the meat chant, and then
really?
it stuck extremely easily, and then and then people just started doing it at like every event. So yeah, go ahead and play it if you want.
Okay, I have to. It won't let me control where it is in the video. I had
Best overall.
Here, okay. We'll start it.
Best overall goes to Carson.
Best overall. And so that is going to Carson.
And first place goes to Carson.
Is the last one LVO?
Last one's LVO. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I just sent you the actual video, which is like the end of LVO. Also,
Wow.
here's the Ogre Trophy. I got it. Yay! It's in person.
Yeah.
And are you showing the?
No,
last
not
video?
yet. It doesn't want to. It's such a pain. Okay. There we go. Load it up. Oh, and it muted it again. Thanks, Facebook. And I literally have to. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
First place comes with a golden ticket.
Sir?
And first place goes to
Wow.
Carson.
Really? You got a golden ticket?
I did. I got. So that's my second golden ticket.
You've got 2 golden tickets?
So I've got. Here's the award. It's called Ultimate Paragon, but it's the equivalent of like best overall for LVO.
Wow.
It originally was supposed to come with like a golden ticket, but then as they said there, that was like probably the most like ego inflating thing in my life, I think, where they're just like, he already has one, give it to the next guy. So it was actually Nate Trentinelli that ended up taking the golden ticket home because he was second best overall.
Wow.
And then what that video doesn't show is that I went to go like shake his hand as he was like he came grabbed the ticket and I offered my hand, and then he like didn't see, I think, so he like turned around and I was like, oh, okay, and I just walked back to the crowd, and obviously people let him know, and then he started sprinting back, and we had a good little like pat on the back kind of thing. So congratulations to Nate Trentinelli for getting a golden ticket. I'll see you there.
Awesome.
We'll be in Atlanta together. I also hope that there's more people coming to Atlanta, except other than me and Nate Trentinelli, because it'd be awkward if only 2 people showed up to the World Championships. But yeah,
That would be weird. It would improve your chances of winning, though.
that's true.
Shoot. Or actually, so how does it work then? Like, you got your golden ticket from Games Workshop?
I did, yeah. So because I was in the top 8 at the World Championships in Atlanta in November, everyone in the top 8 just immediately got a re-invite to next year's World Championships.
And then I don't know if it's okay to talk about it, but then how does it work? Because like usually the tournament you win your golden ticket in helps send you there. How does it work for you?
To be honest, it's kind of unclear. So in the past, how it's worked is the winners of the U.S. like Open Series, so best general, best overall, they had their flight and their hotels just paid for by Games Workshop. I don't know if that's going to be the case now. I've heard rumors that it's just going to be like travel to get there, and then like your accommodations are up to you. But who knows, right? There will be like some sort of help getting there travel wise, and it's also not like a requirement for the tournament that gives you a golden ticket to like actually fund your way there.
Oh, really?
No, it's not. It's just whether the tournament wants to or not. So like for instance, Kippers, the tournament that I went to get there last year, put $500 towards your travel expenses. I know some tournaments that have put like $1,000 or $2,000 because they're in like Australia or Europe, and it's much more expensive to get to the US.
Wow.
And then obviously with the US Open Series, GW is just paying for people's full trip essentially.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense. Like if they weren't going to pay for the whole thing, it does make sense for them to pay for the flight, because that's the one thing that actually changes between everyone's
like ability
journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's like the hotel is theoretically the same cost for everyone, because we're all going to be in the same relative area for the same relative amount of time.
I don't know, man. I think I might stay at a different spot.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like that cost is going to be the same
for sure. No, I know
for everyone that's there. Whereas like me flying from Vancouver is going to be much different from, I think there's a guy that flew from like the Philippines.
Whoa.
So
yeah,
it would cost him like thousands of dollars to get there.
For sure. Yeah, so. Australia is quite expensive too, because they usually have to like stop at like several different places along the way. And there's probably like someone going there from like Florida, which they can drive, or maybe even someone from Georgia, right? So yeah, that's
Muhammad asks, so yeah, were the Play On guys there? I think so. I don't actually know what they look like. I'm sorry. So probably. And then are you going to Warhammer World or Adepticon? Probably not for both. I think I'm capping it at like 2 big flight tournaments per year.
Right.
Maybe 3 max.
Including Warhammer, like the Warhammer.
So basically LVO and WCW, I think.
I see.
It's just a lot. Like
yeah.
It's also really expensive. So
it's also like, I mean, it's also like, as a Canadian person who makes money in Canadian dollars, it adds a lot to the, like, I know people from Australia and New Zealand kind of get it because they're in a similar boat, but it's, it adds a lot to the expenses. Anytime you're like shopping overseas or doing anything overseas, it adds like 35% to your to your cost, which is, it's a lot.
it's pretty crazy.
Thanks for joining us, Delicious. We are absolutely doing the LVO recap. Carson just revealed that he not only won best overall, but he would have gotten a golden ticket, but he already had one. So I miss when Vegas was cheap too. February actually used to be like a really good time to go there. We sent my parents there ages ago. It
wasn't terrible. Like, you could find deals if you wanted to, but obviously because everyone was there at the same time, like, people wanted to go and celebrate, right? You wanted to get drinks.
Yep. Absolutely.
So you're going to go to naturally like more expensive places. Like, for instance, on the last day when Kenrick, myself, and a friend of ours were waiting for our flight, or waiting to like go to the airport, we found this place that had like a lunch special, and they're just like, yep, everything on the menu is $5.99 and all beers are $3.50. And I was like, cool. Like, why couldn't we have eaten here every day?
Jeez.
The food was like fine. It wasn't terrible, but I definitely, like, I remember getting the bill and it was just $10 flat, and I was like, all right, guess we're gonna.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so there's only one more picture.
Yes, and that's probably the best general being lifted up by a bunch of people. He's got like a big hammer.
Yes.
So that is Jeremy Lefebvre.
It looks like a mace. It looks like a familiar mace, actually.
Yeah. So I can't remember who made it. It's like Hobby something. They made this like super custom like LVO winner mace that they gave to best general.
That's sick.
And yeah, it's super cool. Jeremy Lefebvre won with his like it's a pretty cool cities list. As you can see, the AOS coach and someone from Canada. Can't remember which person it is. I think that's Oliver. Are lifting him up, and then there's someone behind him too. But yeah, congratulations to Jeremy Lefebvre. Super cool to see that it wasn't like a spam list of any kind that won LVO.
Oh, it says Beefy says Dayton, coach, and Oliver lifted him.
Gotcha. Yeah, Dayton was in the back. That's what it was. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Dayton was like wearing no pants while he was lifting him up, which was pretty funny. Dayton was very frequently not wearing pants, so it's almost an identifier, I would say.
like the opposite of can I come up with a comedian? The guy who always takes his shirt off. I don't know why.
I know the guy that does the machine bit.
The machine, yeah,
Bert,
exactly.
Bert Kreischer, right?
Thank you. I was on the wrong track. Hola, thanks for joining us. It's Oliver, team captain. Oh, neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, Hobby Goblins. That's right. Hobby Goblins were the ones that made all the trophies. Yeah, they made like a bolter, a chainsword, and a mace, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was super cool. And then also one other fun thing was so I was leaving the hotel. We were going to a place called Meow Wolf, or like an area called Area 15, just because there's like a super cool, I don't know if it's like exhibit, it's like an interactive experience called Omega Mart, where it's just like super weird, crazy, wild. Anyway, that's not what matters. But basically, while I was in the car, I got a text from Gareth, the head TO, who's just like, "Are you still at the Rio?" And I said, "No." Why? I'm on my way to Area 15. He's like, "Because you also won Best Destruction ITC for 2023 too." And I was just like, "Oh." He's like, "I have your trophy." So
what?
I've got Best Ogres, which I have the trophy for. I've got my Best Overall for LVO, and then because I missed it, they're just gonna send me the Best Destruction trophy as well.
Wow.
So I came out of the event with 3 trophies, which is like way more than I could have possibly imagined, and it's like the perfect way to cap off my first year doing tournaments. I don't think I could have imagined that it would have been like this successful or this awesome, and I just wanted to thank everyone that I've met along the way. So, and you as well for you were literally the reason why I'm in this club on this podcast. So yeah, just a big thanks.
I mean,
my heart is warm for all of you.
We love you. We're super glad that you're here. And I literally, like, I have the receipts. We started playing AOS, like I kind of brought you into it or whatever. Like maybe not back when you started, like in 2019 or whatever, when you like dipped your toe into it. But you kind of just stayed with 40K. And you and I used to just play 40K. You'd play Necrons almost all the time, and I would play Tyranids almost all the time. And then more recently, you know, I kind of got you into it, and I have actual text receipts of me messaging other people. I never told you this, and I was like, Carson is really good at this game. You guys need to start practicing with him. You'll both benefit from it. Like, you guys need to make this happen. And then yeah, man, and then it was prophetic, or I guess, or whatever, I don't know, but like, yeah, I could tell right away that you have a lot of like aptitude for the game. So yeah, man, I'm super glad. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. Like, the only mistake I make with you generally is saying nice things to you, and then you yell at me. I'm like, God dang it! Like, I just can't bring it. You know, I brought it back at the end though, saying some horrible things, which you appreciated very much. Clearly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, man.
For anyone that doesn't know, there's like a running bit in the club where if you're nice to me, I'll do worse.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're my opponent and you're just like a really kind-hearted person and people are just like, wow, you're so good at the game, blah, 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 I tend to do awful. Whereas like, so we kind of do this like negativity circle. It's a joke, obviously, where they're just like, you suck. You're bad at Warhammer. You're just lucky, which is why you're here.
Yeah.
Dogs hate you. Yeah, it's just, and it really helps me win. So.
Yeah. It seems to take different, you know, what do you call it? Like, people kind of treat you poorly in different ways. Some people talk about your game. I just generally talk about you as a person, you know, how horrible you are. Like, I don't say anything that's not true, but that's what like actually gives you good luck, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exposing my insecurities to the world, which really makes me a better player.
Exactly.
And maybe that'll work for you too. So
It couldn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it could. I don't know.
it might hurt.
We should probably mention we're not professional psychiatrists or any kind of, yeah.
Unless you want to pay us to be.
Unless you, yeah. I don't. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I do play one on the internet sometimes.
There you go.
Poorly, very poorly.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Oh man, it's so awesome. So, and by the way, the cities list that won, was it like what you would expect of a cities list, or was it?
It wasn't actually. I think it was part of the top 10 list of. Oh no, it wasn't on the top 10 list of players that I said to like look out for
wasn't
LVO.
the Steam tank one, I guess. Then
No, it wasn't. That was the one that he was playing against in the final match.
that's crazy. So first and second were cities.
We're cities, yeah.
Whoa.
If you want, we can kind of go through on PCP some stuff. I can send you the link and you can log in and
Certainly.
check out the link.
Why
so yeah, why don't we look at Jeremy Lefebvre's list? So there's like the overview.
Okay.
Tab.
I will grab the thing.
Yeah. And then if you go to placings, he'll be right at the top and you can just click on his list.
Cool.
I believe I'm pronouncing this correctly. I'm pretty sure, like I've seen his name and heard it pronounced this way before. It's just
Okay.
Lefebvre. Like just ignore the B and the R.
Okay, one
Yeah.
second. No, I was just laughing at what Bahuman said.
What do they say?
One second. Oh, he said, from the cockles of your meat dimension.
It sounds bad, but there weren't technically any swear words in there.
I know, right? I think that's what made me laugh. Oh man. Okay, sorry. So, I guess it's placings I should go to.
Yep. If you go to placings, you will see the top cut. Jeremy Lefebvre is right there.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. So you click on his list. It's actually like pretty condensed. There's nothing like it's not a super long list or anything like that, with like tons of special picks.
It is not showing me. Oh, here.
So if you click the little down arrow
Thank
and then you go view list, yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, I've got it up. Misthaven.
So Misthaven, yeah. So if you're not familiar, Misthaven is basically in your hero phase or maybe at the start of your hero phase, I can't remember which. If a unit that is friendly is outside of 12 inches of an enemy, you can make a d6-inch move, and then if it's mounted, you can make a 2d6-inch move. And what's interesting is you can actually end within 3 inches of an enemy if you want to.
Right.
That being said, that's extremely unlikely to happen. The only way it could really happen is if you had like a mounted unit and you rolled box cars and just like ran them all the way. Yeah, just because you can't do it when enemies are within 12. But yeah, we've got the banners held high, which I believe is like what won him this game essentially. It was that close.
I mean,
Banners held high is the just more banners and totems than your opponent at the end of the game.
Yeah.
On the battlefield, which cities has like plenty of those for sure. You have an Alchemite Warforger, which is like an auto include in every city's list. That's the one that he can give an aura +1 to save, or he can give an aura with a spell of 6s to hit, do mortal wounds for both shooting and melee.
Yeah. Currently.
Yeah. Haskell Hexbane, I don't actually know what this is, to be honest. But a lot of people have been asking questions about it. I need to look a little bit more into it to know exactly what it does. After that, we have Pontifex Sinestra. She's the one that everybody was been super worried about, that has like the board wide dealing damage to priests and wizards, as well as like the 5-up ward, and yeah, just super good. You have a Free Guild Cavalier Marshal, which is there pretty much just to be with the Cavaliers. I think it gives first strike to the Cavaliers when it charges, or it gets first strike and then it can activation chain. You've got a Free Guild Marshal on Griffin, which has a Sigmar at Warhammer, so it's going to be slapping pretty hard, moving really fast. It's got its Free Guild Lance, so on the charge, it's just going to be really good. It's got a unit of Free Guild Steel Helms, it's got Galen Van Denst as well, which, again, I can't exactly remember what it does, but there it is. We've got 1 unit of Steel Helms, 2 units of Cavaliers, and then the Hexbane's Hunters and Duralia Van Denst. So like there's like combined with the heroes that we saw in the leaders tab.
Right.
And then the Wither Corpse Hunters, which is what came with the Warcry box with the Gorgers in it. So there's nothing. Oh, and 2 Free Guild Command Corps, extremely important as well. So basically, it has like 2 tries at the 4-up, ignore command board wide.
Wow.
So like this list doesn't. One big thing that screams to me is like there's no Fusiliers, which is something that everyone was terrified of. It seems like this list is just very mobile and very able to, like, it's got a bunch of like spread out hammers. It's got its Cavaliers, it's got its Free Guild Marshal and Griffin. Even the Cavalier Marshal is like pretty good. The Alchemite Warforger makes it that much better. Yeah, it's just really interesting. It's a really cool list. So I'm glad that this is the kind of list that won instead of just like a spam list. And
Yep.
no offense to the person who ran Steam Tanks.
Well,
but
the Steam Tank one is freaking awesome. Like,
it is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see like a balanced list win an event, because that to me speaks like this is just a really, really, really good player. It's not
That's true.
something that's broken in the game.
That's true. Although, like, some stuff might see a change. Like it's kind of weird that you can roll 2 4-ups if you have 2.
The Command Corps is a little odd.
Yeah, I don't think I don't like that.
That's fair. But at the same time,
we'll see.
the Command Corps is something that's like, it's I don't, if the difference between you winning and losing a game is that one thing, is probably was either extremely close or you weren't going to win that game anyway.
I don't know if you have a 75% chance of shutting off a command.
One command.
Well, but if you get it, then you can do another one, right? No.
But what do you mean?
So basically, it provides a reroll. Well, so like, okay, like let's say someone tries to do a command, and you shut it off, and then you succeed. Well, that's the one of the command core, and then couldn't you do it again?
Yep.
With the other command core.
You could, yes, but
so
again, you have 2 4-ups to make to do that.
Yeah.
So I agree, it shouldn't be stacked.
You're right.
Like it should probably just cap at 1, or realistically, this should probably just be made unique, so you can't bring more than one of them. I think that would probably be the fix.
I think that they should just do it like they did Gobapalooza, where it's just like they won't make it unique, but they'll figure it out,
Right.
They'll just pick something and I don't know, make it work.
Keith says Haskell and Hexbane's Hunters have a hodgepodge of weapons, 5+ ward, +1 damage against 1 hero or monster you pick, and might do D3 mortals to death/demon/wizard at the end of the combat. Okay, so it's just another tool, essentially.
Yeah, and thank you to the people who mentioned that they are from Hexbane's Hunters, the Underworld Warband, and there's also the Warcry Warband in there. And I wanted to highlight what Keith said earlier. For a lot of people, getting to go to the gaming club and play games with their friends is like therapy. So there is that. And like we were joking, of course, earlier, but like that's absolutely true. Like, I've never talked about like all I've gotten from getting into the Age of Sigmar community, but one day I will. It's like a pretty personal story though, and so I'm working up my whatever.
Something that needs to be talked about in the right mind space. And
exactly, yeah. But I've thought about going on what's his name, the charity guy, not the charity guy, but the guy who does the charity thing once a year usually. Mephisto, he does like a mental health charity drive. He does like a 24-hour stream, and I thought about doing something on there because it's like kind of focused around that. But yeah, anyway, moving right along. So he won best overall, which is really cool. And then another cities list, Gavin. Yeah, was it?
Jeremy Lefebvre won first, best general.
Best general, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Did I say best overall?
Yeah,
I meant,
was like, that's me.
Yeah, that's true. I knew that.
Technically, it was called Hobby Paragon, not best. Ooh, is it like a mirror?
Oh wow.
There's Rob. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry, it's Hobby Paragon, but yeah, he won best general. And then second place we've got Gavin Gregar, who he's the one with the Steam Tanks list.
That's so cool.
From what I heard, what it was like he had to do magical dominance in like 1 turn later on. So basically he had to successfully cast, and I think that he had been saving it for later, probably because he wasn't able to do it earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Didn't manage to get it, and that was kind of the difference in the match.
Wow.
Yeah, so super close, which again is a good thing. I think it's really good when someone doesn't just come and stomp the entire competition. I'm glad to see that it's like, even if they're two cities lists, it's actually two very different cities lists, right? You have one that's like very kind of like several tools in the box and it's very mobile, and then you have the steam tank spam, which is it's very awesome in its own right. So I'm happy for that. I'm also happy to see that like just the top 8 in general. You have 2 cities, a Blades of Corn, KO, Soulblight, Stormcast, Ogres, and Cruel Boys. Like, huge spread.
Who would have thought?
Overall Grand Alliances, too.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Ogre Maw Tribes, Cruel Boys, and Stormcast Eternals being in there at all. Tom Guan Soulblight, that's not going to surprise anyone. Jeremy Vessier with KO is not going to surprise anyone. I'm not as familiar with Fabien Barbusse, I guess, but Blades of Corn is not as surprising, in general. But like, yeah, good for good for everyone. I mean, good for all of them. Like there's probably how many KO players, how many Blades of Corn players, and how many Cities players in this tournament. I'm not saying anything about how armies win games. They very clearly don't. It very clearly is the players winning the games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just, like my balls said in the chat. All 4 Grand Alliances are in the top 8. And there isn't even like a huge skew towards one of them. Because you've got, 4 order, actually. There's more order than anything else. But there's more order armies than anything else, too.
Yeah, there are.
So,
yeah.
You have 1 death, you've got 2 destruction, 1 chaos, and 4 order. So not bad at all.
That's pretty interesting, and it's very different than what it used to be, too.
Yep.
So.
And then even when you break into the other undefeated people, it's another Cruel Boys, a Lumineth, and another KO. So
wow,
there's no more than 2 of each thing represented, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So, whereas normally you'd think that there's 1 crazy super powerful meta thing and that's what breaks into the top only. Right. But no, the game is in a really healthy state right now. So
it is. It's my favorite game they've ever made. And I play them all, generally speaking. I don't play Necromunda, but that's not really, it's a different kind of thing, And Necromunda looks fantastic, to be honest. I just, I already split my time enough as it is.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So sorry that this is a very unorganized stream. I was very flustered coming back, especially with all the delays. I got in at 3:30 last night, so it was. But yeah, I guess, does anyone have any questions? Anyone want to see anything? We could go through my matchups, or we could go through the lists that won. We already went through some of them last week, but
that's true. Yeah, you guys call it. Let us know what you want to see.
Yeah, my only loss in the 5 games was Jacob Brandon, who is in the top 8. Excellent Cruel Boys player. I think he ended up being 4th or 5th in the world.
I want to see his list if everyone is okay with that.
Yeah. Let's take a look at his list and I'll talk through our game because it was extremely close.
And you played him too.
Yeah.
He's the guy that beat you?
Yeah, he's the guy that beat me.
Whoa! Even more impressive. Grin and Blades, so that's not surprising. Gobsprack, also not surprising. Gobsprack was he just hit that number where it's just the cost of doing business is so low here that he brings enough to the table to overcome it. Because it's funny because he started at 3, I want to say 320 or 300 or something like that, and everyone's just this thing is trash. But now he's also interacting with the current season, so I don't, you probably see him after this season, if nothing else changed. But yeah, 2 Swamp Kala Shaman, 1 with Merciless Blizzard, 1 with Sneaky Miasma. Those are both obviously normal picks. Snatch a Boss on Sledgebraker Beast, another normal thing to get. Super Sneaky command trait, Mork's Eye Pebble, which is, I believe, the 5-up against mortals in the shooting phase. Mount trait Weirden. Oh, what is Weirden again? Oh, I can't remember now.
I don't remember either. I probably should because I played him. 1 sec, let me check.
And then another Swamp Kala Shaman with Choking Mist, 2 units of Gut Rippers, Hobgrots as battle line because you can get them if you have a unit of Gut Rippers, and then holy moly, 18 Bolt Boys and Dagok's Stab Lads. I think that is also the Underworld's Warband, I guess.
So Weird means this model has a ward of 4+ against mortal wounds caused by spells and the abilities of endless spells.
That's
so
actually
that's
a
why I don't
really
remember,
good-
because it does
Yeah.
literally nothing against my army.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't generally rep it. I tend to go elsewheres. But like, I think that's a really good pick for tournament. Obviously, I mean, but like, yes, I'm in retrospect, like whatever with hindsight and everything else, but just against stuff like Zeech and what do you call it, Seraphon and other armies that are able to sling out a lot of mortal wounds. It's an interesting pick.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
Yeah, the 18 Bolt Boys instead of 12 was terrifying for me to deal with.
Yeah.
It actually mattered a lot.
Yes.
Because
I
the
mean,
turn that I
I usually
decided to
take
go
9. Right?
Yeah.
And he's got 3 Swamp Kala Shaman too, so they're all doing it on 5s.
Yep.
And if they're all within range of Buddy Boy, then they're on the Snatch Boss, and they're doing 3 on 6s and 2 on 5s. So
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
yeah, that's
Our game was extremely close. I want to start off by saying he was a really cool guy. Like I think he might have been like my most enjoyable game in the singles tournament.
nice.
He was just a great player. He was really kind. He really respected like playing by intent, because obviously he had set it up in such a way that like he had like certain firing lanes with his Bolt Boys, and he was just helping me the entire time. Where I was saying like, hey, my intention is to like move this guy up here, be on this point, and not be shootable by your guy. Can you help me measure that out?
Mm-hmm.
And then we just kind of set that up correctly. It's really easy. I also got him with a joke at the beginning where he mistook my name for Carson, and I was like, it's a little bit early to be giving me an L here, but okay, come on.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a great game. The final score was 23-25.
Damn.
2-point difference. It was down to grand strat,
Whoa.
basically.
Wow.
And kind of what it was like he says he was really kind. Well, we know how to beat Carson now by being really nice to him.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Exactly.
It works.
That's why he won.
I always forget
Really,
that.
I think the deciding factor was like he ended up winning a priority and giving me a double that I didn't really want, and then after that, won the priority to take a double, which kind of like just pushed it over the edge. Who knows what would have happened otherwise, but that's kind of what I think. But it's just one of those games where it's like you can't possibly be mad about the outcome because it was such a good game and it was so close that it was just awesome. Yeah. So props to you, Jacob. Thanks
yeah.
for the great game.
Good on you, and good on you doing so well with KV. Like that's quite impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. And he what was his loss? I wonder. I think it was Jeremy Vessier, KO.
How do I look that up?
If you go into pairings, it should be like round 6.
Oops. Come on. Oh, it doesn't want to. Okay. I have to like search their name.
No. In round 6.
Oh.
There should be
round
like
8. Here we go. I see. Round 6. And what was his name again?
Jacob Brandon.
Jacob Brandon.
So he actually played against Jeremy Lefebvre, the guy that won the tournament. So
I see.
that's a respectable loss if there ever was one,
No
for
kidding.
sure.
Yeah.
That's yeah. That would have been an interesting match to watch, actually.
No kidding.
Seeing that city's list go against the KO, because like
Yeah.
KO list slaps hard, and it could have been really dicey depending on the battle plan. That being said, I think round 6 was ice fields, so that's maybe a little tougher for Cruel Boys because there's a lot more. There are far more points that you have to cover. My game against Jacob Brandon was lines of communication, which is just like 3 objectives to the direct center.
Yeah.
So he could basically set up firing lanes for all 3 pretty easily, whereas there's 6 on ice fields, which is a lot harder to cover, and still kind of keep up on battle tactics and primaries. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That would have been an absolutely fascinating one to watch for sure. Yeah. Huh. Good for him. Sorry. Chris Bulk, Chris asked earlier if you're going to Adepticon. You said you weren't planning on it.
Not planning on it, no. I'm probably just going to be doing like 2 big like flight tournaments a year, which is it's just going to be World Championships of Warhammer and then LVO. I think those are kind of be my 2 big ones. Otherwise, I'll probably just be staying in the Pacific Northwest. You'll probably see me at like the U.S. Open Tacoma. You'll probably see me at one of the Sparkle parties. You will see me at Kick or Death, Northern Wastes, Kipper's Melee. I'll be there as well, but yeah, just those 2 outside of that area.
Yeah, as we were kind of saying earlier, Chris, it's quite expensive for Canadians to travel in the States. So, and he's got a golden ticket for WCW. So, yeah, basically the start and end of the year is when you'll be heading stateside, I guess, mostly.
Yeah.
And in the north, you already said that earlier, but the Pacific Northwest, so like Washington area as well. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'll definitely be there. What else?
Oh, Keith said earlier he hopes AOS 4 is AOS 3 with fixes and tweaks. Carson and I have been saying for a while now we hope the same thing, but that's not what I've heard. Unfortunately, I've heard that they're going back. We're going back to Index.
I kind of like, the more I've thought about it, an Index edition is super exciting to me. It's
Yep.
going to be like the Wild West, where
It is
the first tournament afterwards
Yep.
is going to be just crazy. And I don't know, like weird stuff is going to pop up that no one's ever thought of, and it's going to be fun.
I generally speaking love indexes. It's everyone's usually on like a fairly level playing field, and it is the Wild West. It is every time, and it is fun. And you know, they've been doing such a great job. Like 40K wasn't really my thing, and I think we're probably going to get some similarities, but I think it'll work better in AOS. So yeah.
Yep. Romulan Dog says, how did the game versus Jacob Brandon go? I'd like to hear more about it. I can kind of give like a little overview of like how the entire match went. So basically, I think he was a 2-drop, I was a 1-drop. I won priority and took defender. And then I placed 2 big force in the center of the map, essentially. And those were kind of what allowed me to stay in the center and cap objectives. So turn 1, I believe I just gave to him. And I was expecting him to kind of advance forward, but nope, he just set up little firing lines so that he had like arcs on all of the objectives. There was some tree coverage on the objectives so that he couldn't get all of it. And then he had his little teleportation thing right at the beginning where he just like plopped some Hopgrat Slitas on one of the objectives. And I think maybe just like tagged another, or yeah, he walked them over to the other objective to like get 1-2 more on his first turn, did Magical Dawn. I go because he didn't move his castle far up enough. I also just did Magical Dawn and then took the objectives back for 5 points.
Right.
And then after that, for turns 2 and 3, I didn't go anywhere near him. I think I did maybe Intimidate the Invaders, maybe I know I did Surround and Destroy and one other one that I didn't have to interact with him. And
By the way, the teleportation thing is a dirty trick that you can do.
yes, yeah, that's right. And then what ended up happening is because I went second, third turn, it was just turn 2, sorry. It was Surround and Destroy that I just didn't touch him at all. So the first 2 turns, we didn't engage each other at all. And then turn 2 into 3 is where he won a priority and gave me a double that I didn't want. So what I decided to do was just Intimidate, probably, where I threw the Stonehorn into Gobsprak, who was like way over to the side of the board. And then I charged in some ogres. I ended up killing, I think, either over half or just half of the Bolt Boys. And then like wiping like all of his screens and stuff like that. And it was like pretty devastating, or not devastating, but like it was a pretty big blow, but not enough to like end the game, obviously. His counterpunch was a lot. Like he did quite a bit of damage back, but I was still kind of in it. Then he won his double going from 3 to 4, which is kind of what sealed the deal. After that, only the Stonehorn was left.
Yep.
And the Stonehorn was just like making its way down the battlefield. I think it killed Gobsprak. It killed the Sludge Reka. It killed the Gut Rippers that were like on one of the points. But just because he had more bodies, he was able to retake points back and steal the game back. So
Wow.
Yeah, it was super, super close.
Absolutely. Thanks to Keith for answering. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt as well. Andrew asked, "What does that mean, index?" It's some, and what Keith said is basically true. They, they get rid of all the current army books. They go away, and then they either come out with books with whole, like, when AOS 1 first released, they had a chaos index, they had a death index essentially, and you had all the rules for every army of each faction per book. Sometimes they do PDFs like they did with 40K. Oh no, yeah, they were free for 40K, and sometimes you have to pay for them. Like in the current Old World, they have all the forces of good, which is called the forces of fantasy or something like that, and then the forces of the ravening hordes or something like that as the bad guys. And so sometimes you have to pay for it, sometimes you don't. But yeah, it basically means when they're going to heavily change the rules, we get indexes instead of being able to keep the current codexes, because a lot of the stuff just doesn't make sense. Like in 40K right now, they have something called objective control, OC, and it's like how many you count towards when you're on an objective. Like each unit has a number for how much they can control objectives. Or like in AOS, like my theory is that part of the reason we're going to index is they're going to get rid of the stupid like 1, 2, and 3 inch measurement on your melee range, and we're going to go to like a proper system like they have in the Old World and in 40K and stuff like that. And so it's good, if they have like this unit can fight 2 inches on a war scroll, and then people be like, what does that mean? Because it doesn't interact with the current rule set, and it'll create confusion. So that's why we tend to go to indexes and stuff like that. But the reason that me and Carson like it so much is because like everyone tends to be kind of even. No one has the upper hand, Yo, Matthew, thank you so much. Wow. Thank you again for gifting a membership to the channel, man. That's really nice. You. So much gratitude. Thank you. I didn't expect that, so I am flustered. Yeah, so that's basically what indexes are. Hopefully, I answered that.
Yeah.
To
someone,
yeah.
Keith brought up in chat as well. Like for the sake of, I'll just read out his message. For the sake of PR, if they make us throw out books all at once, free PDFs with the option of buying cards is the way to go.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I like about it in a way too, or what excites me about an index edition. One problem that I have right now is whenever you go to a tournament, if you're playing an army that you don't own and someone tells you rules about something, you kind of just have to take it for granted, right? And who knows if like maybe something was FAQ'd, maybe the wording of something is confusing and it doesn't actually mean what your opponent said it means. The ability for you to just kind of like double check and really make sure and like really understand what's going on is super, super important. And with an index edition, there's going to be a very brief period of time where everyone's going to be able to do that at tournaments and in casual play too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they did a really good job in 40K in 10th edition, where you could buy the cards, and it's kind of like War Scroll cards and allegiance abilities all built into one, or you could just work off of a PDF, which is like what I did, because I mainly play Tyranids in 40K, and I knew that they were going to be first up for getting a book, and so I was like, well, this is be a total waste of money, so I just downloaded the PDF, and yeah. But it is nice. That's true. I mean, like, we do have that available, like, on Wahapedia, but, like, if you can look at official sources, it's a lot more, sound. Like, it's coming from, directly from the people who make the rules, so.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
But, yeah, and there's more to it than that, too. It's hard to explain, but, when people when you come out with something that most of us have probably encountered is when a new army comes out and you're playing this army, and so you're all at the first, you're all kind of going like, like when FEC came out, it's like, oh, maybe I'm trying to make blister skin work. Like I think there's some gas in the tank here. And then I play a bunch of games, and then we talk about it online, and we kind of figure out like, no, it's not as good as we're hoping or whatever. Like try to make Terrorgeist work. Like, nope, they're not great. And then, but at the start, like there's a lot of excitement. Like everyone has all these different ideas, and they try out their own thing, and it's just less rote at that point. And when you start out, like the meta is wide open. When everyone's on index, it's just like that's why we said it's the Wild West. We just don't know what's good, what's bad, Like, or even like if you like when we first got battle tactics, like think of how different they are, like in the core book versus what they are now. Like now they're so hard to achieve compared to when they first came out. They were almost auto complete. You were getting on average at least 4 a game, and then the books started coming out, and books had their own battle tactics, and yeah.
I also recognize that I have like a potentially biased perspective, because sometimes, especially in tournaments that have like golden tickets, people are just like, I really want to like have this honed list that I can know is going to do super well, get me to the top so I can potentially get to the world championships. But I feel like GW has like accidentally given me a reason to just kind of like mess around for the entire year. Because like I already have my invite there, so I can just be like, I don't care. Like, let's see what happens. It's going to be fun. Like,
out.
Yeah.
You can become a scientist and just get in the alchemy lab and start mixing potions up and whatnot.
And that's kind of what I saw Jeremy Lemoy do last year, where he won Best General at the U.S. Open Tacoma, which was like July. So he had quite a bit of time, and every tournament that I saw him with after that, he played a different army. And I really respected that.
Wow.
And I bet it's nice having that level of freedom whenever you show up to a tournament. It's just like, no pressure. I'm already going to like the big thing at the end of the year. So, yeah.
So what did he win his golden ticket with?
OBR. Yeah. And he beat me to do it. Yeah.
You still haven't gotten over it. That's fair.
I've never beaten a Lemoy. The bane of my existence. I'll get you someday. Yeah.
That's like Matthias was for me. It's just, and then one day you do, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm just kidding. But love you, Matthias. Yeah. So, yeah. I guess any other questions or anything else? People are.
Yeah. If there's no other questions, we can go over some of the other lists in the top 8, maybe. If you want. I think we already did last week.
Probably. Actually, I'll go back to
definitely.
places.
We already went through Gavin Grigars. We went through Thomas Guans. We went through Jeremy Vessier. We went through Fabien Barbusse. So there's 4 that we didn't go through last week. So basically, like 4 of the top 8 were people that I did predict.
Did we go through Mrigank? Yeah.
Mrigank? No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
We could do that.
Sure.
I don't know anything about Stormcast, so I'm going to be like, yep, those are Stormcast. But
that's true. We should get like Eric or someone on to talk about them.
Yeah.
Scions of the Storm and Spellcasting Savant, Inspired, Holy Command, Call for Aid, Thunderbolt Volley. The Thunderbolt Volley is the shooting in the hero phase with an unreinforced unit, I believe, and I think Call for Aid. So they got 2, which means they must have Magnificent Battalion, through Warlord or whatever. And I believe Call for Aid is like when you bring back a unit. And then Knight Incantor, Shaman of the Chilled Lands, which we're seeing a lot of, and also Lightning Blast, Knight Vexillor. Knight Vexillor. I don't remember that one. That's not the old Sir Toots, is it? The guy with the horn?
I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's when you have the banner. The Meteoric Standard, I think, is the one that does like a big mortal wound blast somewhere on the board.
Okay.
And I think it's when it comes in. Let me just verify that. But you can continue reading.
Knight Relictor, Translocation Spell, Knight Vexillor, another one, and another Knight Vexillor. Jeez. Liberators.
Yeah. So
okay.
To verify what it does, I'll just read it out. If you have the Meteoric Standard, If this unit carries a meteoric standard, once per battle in your hero phase, you can pick 1 point on the battlefield within 24 inches of this unit. Each enemy unit within 6 inches of that point suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Right.
So it's just, yeah, big mortal wound blast. And since he has 2, he can do it twice.
He has 3.
Since he has 3, he can do it thrice.
Amazing. Wild. And then, yeah, Liberators, Dracothian Guard, Tempesters, Reinforced, Dracothian Guard, Fulminators, Vanguard Hunters, Evocators on Celestial Dracolines. That's cool. That's different. Vanguard Raptors with long strike crossbows, obviously for the double shoot. Gotta have something to shoot with. Everblaze Comet. That's kind of cool. And wow, Acolytes, Warlord, Redemption Brotherhood. So he's all the drops, but yeah, that's a funky list, you know.
Yeah. Keith, yes, it is the guy from the Storm
Oh,
Keep.
cool. I was gonna mention Keith said that, and then that's really cool. Good for them.
Yeah. Congratulations on your placing. What did he get? 7th? No, wait. Placing
6th. Thought he was 3rd from the
loading. 6th. Yeah.
right. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And then we've got Bill Hennessy.
Bill Hennessy, I think we might have actually accidentally or like by random reviewed his list last week, but I definitely want to go through it again.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
looking at the list,
Double Husker.
very-
Yeah, we absolutely did.
yeah. And
Wow.
what was about this list is basically, I think kind of, so I looked at his run. He had 2 Maggotkin, 2 Stormcast, and 1 Seraphon as his like 5-game run.
Jeez.
Wait,
say that again. 2
Maggotkins, 2 Stormcast,
Oh,
and
wow.
1 Seraphon.
That's wild.
It is wild, but I think his list is actually very good into those matchups, especially because
For sure.
I know he played James O'Brien in the Seraphon matchup, and it was Fountains of Frost. So I remember James coming up and complaining. He was just like, he just set a monster on every objective, and it was just I couldn't do anything about it. And I was like, yep, that sounds like what is a smart thing to do.
Who is that?
James O'Brien, he's like a TO for a lot of big events. He would have been at WCW. He would have been at US Open, Tacoma. Like, yeah,
That's awesome.
he's
Oh,
all over the
that's
place.
super
I think he's
fun.
also on Team Canada.
Oh,
If
okay.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is a super cool list. Basically, what makes it interesting is there's no Frost Lord, as you can see. It's all Husker. Every single unit in this army has a Blood Vulture, which means he can pick like a support hero and essentially roll 6 dice, and then for each 2 up, takes a mortal wound. So on average, he's like deleting a support hero off the table.
That's
Because
wild,
it-
man.
It's because it's not a shooting attack; it's just an ability.
Yeah.
The Lookout Surge does not apply.
So it's 6. Yes, 6 of them. So I guess it wouldn't work against like some, like, you know, I guess against Stormcast they usually have like 7 wounds. I think maybe not.
No, some of them have 6,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
but I mean,
So,
you're
like,
probably gonna roll 1/1 out of
you
those.
probably will, but like you might not.
Still,
and
chunking
then-
it down is like
and then
really big
bam.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
That's
like
cool.
another, like it doesn't even have to be a hero either. Let's say you're facing down like a big block of 6 Immortus Guard, and you're like, I want one of those not to be there anymore, and then you just kill it like in the
Right.
shooting phase. That's pretty good. The Impact Mortals are going to be really nice. Stonehorn Beast Riders are like very swingy in my opinion, but yeah, it's I think that this map, like again, his matchups I think were definitely not too punishing for what he had. But yeah, it's super cool to see this list make it into the top 8. So congratulations, Bill.
Absolutely. Matthew says, "Would you call that a flock of mortal wounds?" That's true.
I would in fact call it a murder.
A
which
murder,
doesn't
like a
make
murder
sense.
of crows. I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
say the same thing. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
You win this round.
Yeah, the joke doesn't really work because they're vultures, but it's
Oh.
I'm saying it anyway.
That's fair. I mean, we already did go over his list, so I guess we'll. And we already talked about Cruel Boys.
Yep. So I guess the last one is probably just
Did we
Or is
talk
that
about
it?
the corn? I think we did.
no, because we talked about all of these already then.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because we talked about Gavin's list, Fabian's list, Jeremy Vessier's list, Tom Guan's list last week, and then we talked about Jacob Brandon because I played against him, We talked about Jeremy Lefebvre because he was the winner. And then we just talked about Mergonk and Bill Hennessy. So that was the top 8.
And so I don't get. Wait, why are there people like 9, 10, and 11 are people who went 5-0 and they didn't make it? What, through their soft scores?
So what happened was you play 5 games, 3 on Friday and 2 on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then what happens is there's going to be like, how many people are 5-0? What is that? 12? 11 only? So what they'll do is they need a true top 8 for Sunday.
Okay.
So what happens is they take the bottom like 6 people probably,
Okay.
and they get them to play what's called a shadow round on Saturday.
Oh.
So those people that went 5-0 actually lost their shadow round game. It's not reflected in BCP.
I see. Yeah, that wouldn't really be fair. So I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because there would have been like 11 or 12 5-0s, and then they just kind of like cut it down to 8.
Jeez. That's really impressive, though. Another Cruel Boys player, and then we've got LRL, and then another KO player.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And then I ended up placing 14th, just below the 5-0s, which was enough to secure me best overall. Yay. Yeah.
Wow.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I didn't really. So originally we were going to talk about the old world. We were going to do an old world special, but then their factory froze in Tennessee, and no one got their stuff for like basically all of North America. And it looks like they're still having extreme weather down there, so like nothing has even shipped yet or something. But the PDFs came out, and so I think we'll be able to talk about it next week. But no, I mean, I didn't really have anything else for this week. I'm glad that we had all these cool things to talk about. Yeah, I mean, I'm just working away at FEC and a couple other things. I did some work on a Vermin Lord today, and because I've been painting nothing but ghouls and ghoul flesh, so I got kind of a little bit sick of it. So I'm branching out a little bit, but yeah. Congrats on the best overall from Chris. Yeah, absolutely. Did Carson make it through this flight event without Nurgle giving him gifts? Did you, Carson?
Luckily, yes. I'm glad that I didn't go to like 2 consecutive tournaments and get absolutely murdered by sickness. My voice is definitely like feeling a little shredded from doing you have to like yell talk the entire tournament because it's so loud in there.
Yeah.
But I've had the same exact feeling for the past couple tournaments. It's nothing new. Yeah, it's feeling all good here.
Nice. And yeah, you didn't catch any of the, I forget what you called it, basically any of the Rona.
Oh no. LVO vid?
Yeah.
It's the
LVO vid, that's what it was.
Yeah. Nope. Luckily, no. A ton of people did. I think one of our club mates did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I feel totally fine. Obviously, I'll keep a distance from people for the next first couple days. But
I feel like anytime you travel, like it could just be the plane ride because it's just recycled air while you're up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll get people traveling again.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah.
I mean, but like, what do you do, right? Like, the reality is, it's actually always been like that. Like, anytime you go to an event, I think now people are just more cognizant of it. And you're actually less likely to get sick now than you were before the Rona happened. But yeah,
I wonder if part of it
exactly.
I wonder if part of it too is that like because so many people were so isolated for like 2 years, our immune systems are kind of like catching up to being exposed to so much stuff again.
I think so.
And going to a convention after being isolated for so long is just like exposure therapy for your immune system, essentially. Like it's just way too much.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like if you look at like what happened in certain countries that were closed down for longer, they did way worse. Like way worse. Yeah. So that makes sense for sure. The spicy cough for the grandchildren. Yeah. Yeah, well before 2020. Exactly, Keith. Yeah, it's actually like I remember, friends of ours. I won't say their names, just for the in the off chance. But they used to talk about, they got sick like every time they would go down for a tournament. So, yeah. But
Yep.
yeah. But yeah. So I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. I'm filming a battle report tomorrow with Will. So that will go up as soon as possible. And yeah, Meat Dice will be going up on the Etsy store soon.
Put those meat dice back up on screen. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't just have them up when we weren't. One second. It will take a moment. I've got too many tabs open now. Bada bing, bada boom. Whoops. No,
Yeah.
I didn't time
Check
that
out the meat dice. Also, just a reminder, at the end of March, I'm going to be TOing an event in the Pacific Northwest called Wet Coast. So if you're looking for a tournament, you're going to be in the area, or you'd like to come to the area, check it out.
right.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
It should be good, and it is in Richmond, which is where the airport is, so it's very easy to stay. And if you're driving up from Washington or something like that, it's very close to the border. Yeah, it's a good one to go to for sure. So yeah, and we don't know if it's a golden ticket event yet. It might be, but don't go for that. Go for
Don't go for that.
come for the laughs or something.
Good times.
Yeah, come for the good times. Right on. Well, yeah, thanks to everyone for joining us as usual. A lot of great and hilarious comments, which I appreciate. If you went to LVO, or if you have any thoughts about how the tournament went, let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on LVO and all that stuff in general. And hopefully this Thursday we're gonna get a battle scroll update. I'm hoping for it, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, thanks to everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.